Nationwide is so much more than a great insurance company. They're one of America's largest financial services companies. Like how I'm more than Saquon Barkley, the NFL's reigning leading rusher. I'm also the NFL's leading husher. Shh, hush up back there. Wow, I might have just set the hushing record. Well, almost. For your insurance and financial needs, Nationwide is on your side.
Nationwide Investment Services Corporation, member FINRA, Columbus, Ohio.
Looking for these better days.
It is Wednesday, October 2nd. I'm Scott Seidenberg. Here's what you need to know to make today a better day. This will just be the second time in baseball history there will be 3 winner-take-all playoff games in the same day, as the favorites go 4-0 yesterday in the Major League Baseball Wild Card Series, setting up 3 Game 3s today, and one team in the Dodgers already advancing to the division series. Plus, Thursday Night Football will kick off Week 5 of the NFL season tonight, and the 49ers will be without plenty of players. We'll get to that coming up here in just a few minutes, but let's talk Major League Baseball. Yesterday, as I mentioned, all 4 favorites winning their games. In the early one, it was the Guardians, a 6-1 victory over the Tigers, and condolences for anybody that had the under 6.5 in this one, as the Guardians scored 5 runs in the bottom of the 8th inning as they snapped a 1-1 tie and go on to win 6-1. They were slight favorites in this game, and now they force a game number 3. Elsewhere, it was the Padres with a 3-0 shutout victory over the Cubs, forcing a game 3, and the Yankees a 4-3 victory over the Red Sox. Back and forth affair in the Bronx, but it was an Austin Wells double that scored Jazz Chisholm from first base as he was running on a 3-2 pitch with 2 outs, scored all the way from first, and the Yankees took a 4-3 lead. David Bednar got the save. They even up that series with the Red Sox, and the Dodgers took care of the Reds 8-4, as Yamamoto was fantastic on the mound, and Roki Sasaki coming in the 9th inning to close it out. We had a great day up on BetterDay.com. Swept the board yesterday in Major League Baseball. We'll look to continue the success here today, and let's talk about these matchups for today. 3 winner-take-all games. Like I mentioned before, this is just the first time, I believe, in baseball history that this is happening here. Or excuse me, the second time in baseball history that we have 3 winner-take-all playoff games in the same day. And that happened back in 1981, like weird spot there. Anyway, this is an interesting day. Because, first off, let's just talk about this wild card round in general. Like, since the wild card round expanded, we had not really seen a lot of 3-game series. From 2022 to 2024, there were only 2 wild card series game 3s. And now we have 3 of them in one day. So let's just appreciate where we have come here with the Major League Baseball postseason format. Although the Cincinnati Reds backing into the playoffs thanks to the New York Mets, it makes you wonder what type of series that would have been if it was Dodgers against the Mets. Would we have 4 game 3s here today? Anyway, here's your schedule for today. The early game will be the Tigers at the Guardians. Slade Ciccone going to start for Cleveland. Jack Flaherty on the mound for the Dodgers. And up on the FanDuel Sportsbook right now, the Guardians a -116 favorite with a total of 7. The Padres will be at the Cubs. Yu Darvish on the mound for the Padres, and Jameson Taillon going for the Cubs. Cubs a small favorite right now up on FanDuel, -118 with a total of 7.5. And it's a battle of the rookies. Yeah, game 3, winner take all between the Yankees and the Red Sox, and it comes down to 2 rookies. Cam Schlittler getting the start for the New York Yankees, and Connolly Early getting the start for the Boston Red Sox. Now, of course, for both of these teams, it's all hands on deck, right? You're going to go to the bullpens early if you have to. You're going to bring in whoever you need to get these outs. This is win or go home. So I would expect both managers, maybe the leash on these rookies is not as long as it would normally be. And for me, that's why I'm looking at to see once pitcher props get released. I mean, as I'm looking at it right now, recording this pod, I only see strikeout props up, and it's only on Cam Schlittler. and it's at 4.5, and it's juiced to the over up on FanDuel. And we know Schlittler is a high strikeout guy, so it does intrigue me. But the only thing that gives me hesitation about betting any overs is because I just don't know how long these pitchers are going to be in the game. I mean, yesterday, Alex Cora took out Brian Bayo, one of his proven starters, very early in the game because the Yankees were getting to him and there was the potential of him giving up some more runs. He only went 2 1/3 innings. And of course, Bayo is a guy you trust significantly more than Connolly early. And you wonder if having all of those appearances by the relievers yesterday impacts the Red Sox in this game today. Now, we of course saw Garrett Whitlock last night, which is what was expected. That was part of our handicap as to why we like the New York Yankees, or Aroldis Chapman did not pitch. Chapman, I would assume, would be good for at least a 4-out save, if not a 5-out save, maybe even a 6-out save tonight, should the Red Sox be in a situation to do that. So that is certainly a situation that I think could occur, that we see Chapman for multiple innings tonight as Alex Cora will dip into his bullpen. And then it just comes down to how Aaron Boone is going to manage his bullpen in this game here tonight. I think the Yankees win this game. I like the Yankees on the money line. I like the Yankees in the first 5 innings because I think they get to Connolly early. And it's funny. His name is Early. I think they get to him early. And I would look at maybe a Yankees first 5 team total to go over in this game. If we're looking at the Yankees in the first 5, just the Yankees run line in the first 5, or the money line in the first 5, it's minus 152 up on FanDuel. But I would look at maybe the total runs in the first 5. If you look at just the combined total in the first 5, it's at 4.5. You get a little plus money on that 4.5 for both of these teams. But I could see a situation where the Yankees score 2 or 3 off of Connolly early and take a lead after 5 innings. And I've been impressed with what I've seen from Cam Schlittler so far this season. But this is going to be a fascinating game. All 3 of these should be fascinating games. I don't have any strong plays or leans really on the first 2 games. I don't want to fade the Guardians' momentum here. The fact that they're home, the fact that they're playing with all this this mojo right now, and the big 8th inning last night certainly carrying over possibly into today. But Jack Flaherty does have postseason experience, World Series experience with the Dodgers, and maybe he is primed for the big moment here for the Detroit Tigers. And for the Cubs and Padres, I mean, that is a total coin flip. It comes down to which offense finally wakes up, because this has been an incredibly low-scoring series. The 3-0 victory by the Padres yesterday and a 3-1 victory by the Cubs in game number 1. So maybe you go back to the well and you bet an under once again. Total in this one is at 7.5. The Dodgers took care of the Reds, and they have advanced to the National League Division Series. Well, they will take on the Philadelphia Phillies, and the early line up right now for that series up on FanDuel is the Dodgers, a minus 112 favorite, Phillies minus 104. Now, at this number, I would bet the Philadelphia Phillies. But let's see where this number goes before we get to game number 1. And we don't have any, we do have a lineup on game number 1, as it is expected to be Christopher Sanchez on the mound for the Phillies and Shohei Ohtani for the Dodgers. That game 1 will be on Saturday. Phillies a minus 126 in game number 1. At least that is the early line right now here on the FanDuel Sportsbook. So I like the Phillies. You wish they'd have Zach Wheeler in this series, but I do think the Phillies can get the best of the Dodgers. But LA is playing well right now. They are pitching well right now. Saw a stat last night about the Dodgers pitching staff that Yoshinobu Yamamoto, Blake Snell, both got 20-plus outs. They both allowed fewer than 5 hits, and they both struck out 9 or more batters and earned the win. That's the first time that starters have done that in back-to-back games in Major League Baseball postseason history. So a team's starters having outings like that in back-to-back games had never happened in baseball history until Blake Snell and Yamamoto did that last night and the night before. So historic stuff here from the Dodgers as they are looking as strong as they have looked since they've won the World Series. So that's the big thing, the big story going on here. Obviously, Major League Baseball is the major storyline, and that's going to dominate the day here today. But we also have Thursday Night Football coming up tonight, which will kick off week number 5 of the NFL season. And let me just get this out of the way. The 49ers decimated by injuries. Brock Purdy, quarterback, is not going to play in this game. The Niners have also ruled out wide receivers Juwan Jennings and Ricky Pearsall. Jordan Watkins is out as well. This is in addition to George Kittle being out, Brandon Ayuk being out. So this is a team that is decimated by injuries. Mac Jones will make his third start for the team in the last 5 games. Now, Jones was not good enough to play or healthy enough to play last week, but was serviceable in games against the Saints and the Cardinals, but he has been dealing with a knee sprain, and this is the first week that he was back to being a full participant in practice and off of the injury report. Now, we have seen this line just completely get out of hand. The Rams right now up on FanDuel are a 7.5-point favorite with a total of 45.5, and I would lean towards the under. That would be the first lean for me here on this. I certainly want no part of the 49ers at this number. I don't like laying more than a touchdown, though, with the Los Angeles Rams. But something that I will take a look at for tonight's game is in the trench report for this week, which I have been publicizing. And by the way, I put up the explainer video up on YouTube and I tweeted it out of, if you missed yesterday's podcast when I was explaining everything with Mackenzie with the trench report. So I gave you a little bit of an explainer. So if you read the article on betterday.com and maybe you're a little confused as to what it means, I did a little explainer video for you guys. But in the trench report this week, the running back or the running mismatches. This is big. First, let me say this. We talked about with Mackenzie how the Monday Night Football games had the big rushing mismatches, and it worked out. But let's dive a little further into the rushing mismatches. And what do I mean by rushing mismatches? Well, in the trench report, if you look at each game-by-game breakdown, you'll see that run blocking and run defense are 2 of the measurements. And if we just isolate the running aspect of this, so run blocking and run defense, in week number 4, the top 5 mismatches, here's what their running backs did. The Buffalo Bills were number 1, and they had James Cook go for 117 yards. He went over his prop. As a team, they rushed 32 times for 165 yards. The Ravens were another mismatch. They rushed 17 times for 166 yards. Justice Hill with 76 yards went over his prop. Derrick Henry with 42 yards went under. Lamar Jackson with 48 yards went over. The Rams were a mismatch, and they rushed 26 times for 102 yards. Kyron Williams with 77 yards went over his rushing prop. The Jets were the next mismatch, 28 rushes for 197 yards. Justin Fields with 81 yards, he went over his prop. And Breece Hall also with 81 yards, he went over his prop. And then the Broncos were the 5th mismatch, 38 rushes for 186 yards. J.K. Dobbins with 101 yards went over, and R.J. Harvey with 58 yards went over. So, looking at the top 5 running mismatches from the model in week number 4, you had the RB1s go 4-1 to the over on their rushing prop. You had 2 quarterbacks go over their rushing prop, and you had 2 RB2s go over their rushing props. So here are the top 5 running mismatches for this week. The Buffalo Bills, Colts, Rams, Jaguars, and Cowboys. Now, the Rams are one of those rushing mismatches for tonight, so let's take a look at Kyron Williams' rushing props, because as I mentioned, this is how we're going to play this with the trench report. Is we're going to look at the big rushing mismatches, and we're going to play these running back props to go over. So Kyron Williams is at 67.5 yards for tonight. That would be a play. We're going to go over Kyron Williams, 67.5 yards. And I'll tell you what, because they're 7.5-point favorites, because of the game script, how it's going to play out as well, and because in the Trench Report, this identified as one of the biggest rushing mismatches, let's take a look at Blake Corum as well. Backup running back for the Rams. His total is at 32.5. Let's go over Blake Corum with his rushing prop as well. So we'll go over Kyren Williams and we'll go over Blake Corum for tonight, taking advantage of one of the top 5 mismatches, according to the Trench Report, in the running aspect of it, with a run blocking ultimate grade composite scoring for the Rams of 81.9 and a run defensive grade of 46.8 for the 49ers. That is a 35.1 point edge in our composite rankings. And so, yep, this is going to be the play. We are going to go Kyren Williams over his rushing prop of 67.5 yards, and Blake Corum over his rushing prop at 32.5 yards. Both of those odds courtesy of the FanDuel Sportsbook. And I guess if we are cooking up a same game parlay, why don't we do this? Let's go with both of those running backs to go over their rushing props. Let's go with the Rams to win the game just on the money line. Actually, that doesn't even add anything. It goes from plus 209. Or how about this? Let's do the under 45.5 for the game. So here it is, your 3-leg same game parlay for Thursday Night Football, kicking off week number 5, courtesy of the FanDuel Sportsbook. Kyren Williams over 67.5 rushing yards. Blake Corum over 32.5 rushing yards. And the game to go under 45.5 points. That is at plus 473 up on the FanDuel Sportsbook. Now, if we're looking at something that we want to maybe jack this thing up, we want to throw something in here that might be negatively correlated, that we think could get a certain, like a maximum payout here. Let's see. It might be too simple to do Mac Jones passing yards over, but I think that's the way we have to go here. If this is going to be a game where the Rams are going to be winning, the 49ers are going to be chasing the game, let's go with Mac Jones over 216.5 passing yards. It turns that 3-leg parlay at plus 473 into a 4-leg parlay at plus 1621. Think about how jacked up that payout is. So again, the 4 legs up on the FanDuel Sportsbook. Kyren Williams over 67.5 rushing yards. Blake Corum over 32.5 rushing yards. The game to go under 45.5 points, and Mac Jones, 49er quarterback, to go over 216.5 passing yards, and that is at plus 1621. Now, another option here. Let's take away the Mac Jones passing yardage prop, but let's go to a Christian McCaffrey receiving yardage prop, and his receiving yardage prop is at 54.5. If we, instead of the Mac Jones prop, put the Christian McCaffrey prop in there, thinking that he's going to get a lot of receptions out of the backfield, and with all of the injuries to the 49ers receivers, he might be their best receiving option right now. Well, that makes that plus 473 parlay on the initial 3 legs, it makes it plus 1154. So that's a little bit, if you're not comfortable with the Mac Jones passing prop, I like doing that with the Christian McCaffrey over 54.5 receiving yards, or you do the Mac Jones prop with the yardage, or maybe you do a receptions prop here with McCaffrey. Let's see. Can we get a good McCaffrey receptions prop? Because I don't want to get burned like we had been before on these running backs here. So let's see, McCaffrey alt receptions. If we get 5, oh no, it's minus 600. That's ridiculous. 7 or more receptions, that makes it plus 941. Nah, forget that. Let's just go with the yardage. That was the better payout. We're going to go with the yardage here. Over 54.5, that makes it plus 1154. Or, like I said before, go with the Mac Jones over 216.5 passing yards at plus 1621. That is your same game parlay construction here for Thursday Night Football, kicking off week number 5 of the NFL season. Other NFL news, the Cleveland Browns have a new starting quarterback. Nope, it is not Shedeur Sanders. The Browns announcing that it will be Dylan Gabriel taking over at quarterback in place of Joe Flacco this week. And we have seen some movement on this line. On the FanDuel Sportsbook right now, the Browns plus 3.5 at home against the Minnesota Vikings with Dylan Gabriel at quarterback this week. That was not one of the games that was identified as one of our top mismatches in the Trench Report, so it is not one of the games that we are playing. I am curious, though, and I don't think that this is a good spot for the rookie quarterback in Dylan Gabriel going up against a Brian Flores defense. We usually say that with the Brian Flores defense, maybe the veterans are able to identify some of the disguises in the coverage. I don't know if I can trust a rookie in Dylan Gabriel to have success against some of these exotic blitz looks and the things that Brian Flores is going to do to simulate pressure and bring pressure on the Cleveland Browns. So that's one that I would certainly hesitate towards rushing to the window and playing the Cleveland Browns in this one. Little dicey on that. Elsewhere, the Ravens, no announcement yet on Lamar Jackson's status, but we have seen significant line movement on the Ravens game. So the line is telling us that Lamar Jackson is probably not going to play here for the Ravens, as they opened up at a 9.5 point favorite over Houston, and now the Houston Texans, at least at Circa, are 2-point favorites. Up on FanDuel, they're minus 1.5, but one of the sharpest books here in Circa has the Houston Texans at -2. That tells you that Lamar Jackson is not going to play here for the Baltimore Ravens. If he does, I mean, oh my goodness. I mean, but it's funny. Like, sometimes the market just tells us, and the market is telling us here that we are going to get a backup. We are going to get Cooper Rush in for Lamar Jackson as the Houston Texans 2-point favorites in Baltimore against the Ravens. So that'll do it for this episode. Just a quick episode here on this Thursday morning. Wanted to get you ready for the Major League Baseball that is happening today, as well as Thursday Night Football, kicking off Week 5 of the NFL season. Obviously going to have a big show coming up tomorrow, being Football Friday. We're going to preview all of the games coming up for Sunday in the NFL with best bets. We're also going to do a college football episode for Football Friday Part 2. So the first Football Friday episode will be out normal time, 5:45 a.m., 6 a.m. Eastern time. And then the second one will be out in the afternoon around 12:30, 1 o'clock Eastern time on Friday. So 2 Football Friday episodes coming your way. Jared Smith will join me talking NFL. AJ Hoffman will join me talking college football. And then also we'll have, just like we did last week, up on betterday.com. We'll email it out as well, but it'll be under the research tab for you subscribers. We'll put out the fantasy football article for this week number 5, some sit or start questions for this week. We will have that for you up on betterday.com. You can always hit me up on Twitter at ScottsOnAir, ScottsOnAir. And here's hoping you make today and every day a better day.